from our series of historic buildings, the famous Abbey Eberbach, one of the fascinating monasteries in Europe.
Welcome in the Abbey Eberbach in the Rheingau. We stand on the east side before one of the entrance portals. It is winter, and we look over the garden to the east and south side of the famous basilica. The cross-nave basilica combines Romantic, early Gothic and Baroque architectural and stylistic elements, all mixed together as an historically fascinating unity. The history. The abbey was founded 1136 from the French monk Bernard of Clairvaux. The abbey has been developed to one of the most important and most powerful monasteries of Europe. Strict living rules were established. Absolute obedience towards God, strict silence, dispensation with meat, and unheated rooms. On the basis of the impressive buildings from the 12th to 14th century, the monastery Eberbach is one of the most prominent historically preserved architecture of Middle Ages in Europe. We look to the south side of the Romantic groin-vault pillar basilica, directly to the early separated Gothic funerary chapels. The abbey grew also to an economical institution in Europe. The main source of income was wine growing and wine production. The wine type Gros Brot and the cabinet wine are first documented in this monastery. In the 30 Years' War, the abbey was raided about 1631 by the Swedish troops. Among other church properties, artworks and books from the famous bibliotheca were protracted or destroyed. We look now to the Baroque entrance portal from the southwest side of the grounds. The gatehouse, with the figure of the founder Bernhard of Clairvaux in the wall. After the Swedish war since 1635, reconstruction of the abbey was increasing slowly. On the basis of economic advancement in the 18th century, Baroque components and buildings were constructed. An expression of prosperity. Finally, the demise of the abbey started with the French Revolution. High costs of war and political reorganizations induced 1803 the closure of the monastery. The abbey was signed over to Prince Friedrich of Nassau-Usingen. The inventory was protracted or destroyed. After secularization, the abbey becomes a vineyard domain of the state. The entry of the west side to the inner area of the monastery grounds. We look to the refectory of the lay monks, to the conversion building, and to the dormitory of the lays. The Baroque small timber house of the prelate. The portal of the refectory of the lays and the portal to the guest house. Since 1998, the abbey has become a foundation to protect and to conserve this valuable, unique document of history. The abbey is also a place for cultural events. The vineyards of the monastery are integrated into the staatliche Weinbaudomäne of Hessen. On the basis of the unique historical buildings, the monastery was used as set for famous films, as for example The Name of the Rose, or Vision, the life of Hildegard of Bingen, and for several TV productions about events and history. Now we visit the inner part of the monastery and we will see the fascinating mixed architecture of this institution in more details. The cloistered courtyard and impressive timber houses. An open tomb in the wall. We go into the huge basilica, a three-naved and groin vault building. Many plaid memorial stones of abbots and bishops are fixed at the walls. The room of the altar and the east side. The west side of the basilica. In the altar room, the Gothic wall memorial stone of Archbishop Gerlach of Nassau. The south part with the Gothic funerary chapels. Combined with the wall of the basilica, the dormitory, built since 1250. An early Gothic cross-ribbed vault room, one of the most impressive rooms of Middle Ages in Europe. A look down to the cloistered courtyard. In the direction to the wall of the basilica, the mysterious door in the film The Name of the Rose. The way from the cloister directly to the dormitory and to the museum. The cellar of wine. This room of early Gothic has been the fraternity of the monks. Today the cabinet cellar, a cross-ribbed vault. In the cloistered courtyard, the rest of the well house. The Gothic cloister around. This Romanic window belongs to the chapter room of the monks. Outside Romanic, inside a mighty Gothic star vault, with a huge central pillar. In this room the monks had read out the rules of order. In the refectory of the Lace, now some old wine presses as witness of old wine culture are presented. Finally, outside, some further impressions of the north and west side of the grounds of Abbey. Now we are in the great state vineyard of the former monks of the Abbey, the Domain Steinberg. A complete historic stone wall protects the wine since Middle Ages. Nearby, the new impressive vineyard houses with a wine store.